Well, now you got into this mess by going down a waterfall. Now, how would you suppose we can get them out of there?
By going up the waterfall?
That's right. Anything's possible in Disneyland.
Welcome, friends, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Up the Waterfall with your hosts, Zanna and Scott Otis.
Hello.
This is episode 40, a nice round number.
Ooh, I like that.
And this week, as you can probably tell if you're watching us, we have been getting into the Halloween spirit recently. And this episode will be all about must-see Disney Halloween movies.
Okay.
Which is a generic term. It may encompass shorts and
Yes.
other things that...
Based on my list, that not everything is a movie.
Correct. So yeah, without further ado, I don't know what our total will be. We'll figure it out along the way. And
40?
you can... that would be funny, but I don't think we want to be here for 2 hours.
No. Certainly not.
So without further ado, we should jump right in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to start off with a short. I was initially wanting to do my list in order of like the most, my favorite
Right.
to be at the end. But I kind of only did that for the last one, and I haven't really ranked the rest of them. So
I might say that one, though, before you get to it. I'll not, though.
Please don't. You already know what it is, even though I don't know your picks.
Trust
All right.
me, it's way up there.
We'll start with The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
So let me stop you right here. See, this is actually not a short. It's half of a full-length movie.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, a short is like a cartoon.
I didn't say it was a short. I just said some
I
of the
thought you
things
did.
we were doing were going to
Okay.
be shorts.
Okay. It's shorter than a movie,
Uh-huh.
but it's definitely a good one. Please, proceed.
No, I figured you had a lot to say about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is from a 1949 film, basically the last of Disney's anthology films, which is The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, which, half of which is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which I think is the one that we're talking about here. The other one is Mr. Toad. So this one is essentially tells the tale of Washington Irving's, or Irving. I was talking about Kim Irvine earlier.
Wow.
Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow,
Yes.
with Ichabod Crane in that lovely kind of like Hudson River Valley area of Sleepy Hollow.
Which just screams, fall and
Oh, yeah.
Halloween fun on its
Absolutely.
own without being named Sleepy Hollow and having a headless horseman involved.
That's right.
But yeah.
It tells the tale of Ichabod Crane just kind of coming into town and kind of becoming the schoolmaster and liking food.
He's a little scared kind of guy,
He's a very tall, lanky, confident in some ways, but also, scared in other ways. And he takes a liking to the lovely Katrina Van Tassel.
Ah, yes.
But Brom Bones does not like that because he's kind of like a Gaston kind of a character who feels like he's entitled to her hand. But anyway, I believe at one point they all come together at like a Halloween get-together where Brom Bones tells the tale of the Headless Horseman. And he does it in such a way that it kind of scares Ichabod Crane. So that when he goes home that evening,
He's followed.
There's pretty much an encounter with the Headless Horseman. And at some point you're wondering, is this all in his head? Is it just Brom Bones kind of pretending to be the Headless Horseman, or is it real?
You do wonder that.
And then I think at some point it's real. And the big black horse with the red eyes chasing him with, and swinging a sword trying to decapitate him. Yeah.
And of course, this has been represented in both Disneyland and Walt Disney World before their Halloween parades, where the Headless Horseman will trot down Main Street.
In the early days, he actually went pretty quickly.
Yes, we were just trying to find that the other day. We were on YouTube because Gio has no memory of that. I think it was before he was even born that they had already switched to trotting. And I think there was, a case of a horse slipping or someone, there was insurance involved.
At some point, definitely the horse slipped, but I don't think there was ever any dangerous encounter with a wayward guest.
No.
But, the lawyers, they always get in the way. And
so now he trots, but it was really cool back in the day. And if you have any video or know of, any where he's galloping down Main Street, let us know, because I would love to see it. It was a really cool thing. And in Disneyland, they actually have Ichabod and someone else with him going down the street with his lantern before the Headless Horseman comes. They don't do that here for some reason, but it's really cool.
Yeah. But the whole short is just so ominous in the way that they show the full moon with the clouds that look like a hand trying to squash things. It's very ominous.
And this is available on Disney Plus, as many of the titles I think we're going to discuss are. Disney has released a bunch for Halloween viewing. They have not, unfortunately, that I could find, put together a watch list on the interface, which would be helpful.
That might be our role here.
No, but where it's all, you can just scroll through and see all the Halloween titles.
That should do that.
Like Hulu does that, and I think Netflix too. So. Disney Plus will figure it out. They're still,
get on it.
Toddlers in the streaming world. But yeah, and they also showed that in the PhilharMagic Theater during the parties as well.
During
so that
the
was
Mickey's
a fun.
Not So Scary Halloween party. That way you can take a little break and watch some classics.
Yes. All right. So what is your first pick?
You know what? The one I'm going to
just let you talk about that one.
Yeah. I'm going to actually pick an actual cartoon short.
Okay.
1952's Trick or Treat, which is, an obvious Halloween title.
Yeah.
Straight up Halloween, with basically Donald and his nephews. And the nephews are going out trick-or-treating, and they get to Donald's house, and he wants to give them a trick instead of a treat.
Sounds like Donald.
Yeah. And basically, I think he gives them firecrackers, which, does not have a happy result. But, he likes it. But then Witch Hazel, which is a brand new character at this time, sees this, and she's an actual witch, by the way, with a broomstick and everything. She sees all this and takes sympathy with the nephews and basically kind of helps them to essentially get back at Donald. And he, at first he thinks she's just a character too, just somebody, a trick-or-treater, and he kind of pulls at her nose. She's not. She kind of has a typical witch look, but yeah, she doesn't much take to that, having her nose pulled, and so she essentially tricks Donald into giving up his candy in a fun way. And it's really a fun cartoon short that basically is straight up Halloween. And it introduces this new character, which actually never made another appearance after that. I think she might have in the Mickey Mouse's The House of Mouse, but never again after this one.
Fun.
Oh, yeah.
I do love those old cartoons. I don't know if you've got more on your list, probably.
I
do
have some more
one the
cartoons.
other day, like the Lonesome
We just recently saw The Lonesome Ghost. I'll just go ahead and mention that here. It's a 1937 Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy short, where they are ghost exterminators, kind of like Ghostbusters.
The original Ghostbusters.
They actually utter the line, "I ain't afraid of no ghost," in this one, which kind of like...
Wow, I'm sure someone did their research when they were doing Ghostbusters and threw that in there.
I should also say this is the first time that Goofy utters the phrase, "Something wrong here," which kind of became a catchphrase for him.
Indeed.
But anyway, they basically get called by these bored ghosts who are of this haunted house, who are so bored because they've done such a great job haunting everyone else out of the house, and they got no one else to haunt. So they call these ghost hunters to the house, and while the threesome try to hunt these ghosts, the ghosts kind of haunt them back.
Yeah, they're really mean.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it in a while, and I was like, geez, these guys just won't let up.
And then through a series of events, they themselves get haunted and run out of the house.
I think I fell asleep before I saw
Oh,
the end.
what?
Sorry. I was very tired that night.
7 minute short.
I know. It was a long day.
But yeah, that's true. But that was a fun one.
Yes.
I highly recommend it.
All right. Well, let's move on to some live action features.
Please.
Which, again, these are going to be on Disney+. And, again, I'm going to make you talk about them because I have not seen them. And this is a good chance for all of you listening, as well as me, and then I will report back to you all, to rewatch these classics that I haven't seen in years. Because in the 80s, of course, the Disney Channel would replay all of these old movies, and that's how I saw most of the things that I saw, like the Apple Dumpling Gang and like all those weird old things.
That's kind of how I got introduced to all this stuff too.
Yeah. So, but they don't really, play them anymore ever. But now that Disney Plus is here, you can see some of them again, or you can have them on DVD if you're a super fan, I guess.
I will do my best. but I have not seen everything, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, one of them is Escape to Witch Mountain.
Oh, yes. This one I actually saw in theaters in its original release.
Wow.
I believe that was 1975.
It's true. I was 4.
You were 4?
I don't turn...
In 1975?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, no. Sorry. Why did I think I was born in 70? That's you.
I believe you were less than 4. But anyway,
I can't do math. I was only 2.
Yeah, I was 4 or 5, something like that. But yeah, I remember this. I don't remember it in great detail, but I had since seen it a couple of times. It and its sequel, Return from Witch Mountain.
Yes.
With basically a couple of kids who have weird powers.
Yeah.
Are they witches? Are they UFOs?
And here's the thing. I think they did a remake of this recently.
They did in 2009.
I did not care for it.
It was actually not a remake. Well, I'm sorry. There was a remake on the Disney Channel in 1995 of Escape to Witch Mountain with Elizabeth Moss, of all people.
Weird.
As the girl.
Then they did one more recently.
Yes, in 2009 they actually did a third film, which is called Race to Witch Mountain.
That one was weird.
Yeah.
But, this was really still the era of Disney finding child actors that they were different back then. Let me just say that. I mean, what they turned into beyond that is another story. But if you watch Disney Channel originals anytime from like 2000 on, it's a whole different world because the world was different. There was social media and all sorts of things. And it was just, you were kind of groomed in a certain way to be a certain way and act a certain way. And as a result, I think the child actors were a lot less endearing and realistic than they were back in the olden days. That's just
I will say
my opinion.
Disney has always had the issue of child actors kind of blossoming into adult actors.
Yeah, well,
I'm
not
been
talking
success
about
stories,
like
some have been
the Miley Cyrus situation because, they can go on and do whatever they want. I don't think people should be constrained by the Disney family-friendly, moniker. But I think when they're filming the movies, it should be realistic. And that's just, absolutely. I think that nowadays everything is just kind of like, there's so much promotion and giant merchandising machines and all that stuff. That it's a whole different animal. Anyway, go on with your Escape to Witch Mountain.
I really don't have a lot to say about this because I don't have great memories of it. I do remember, the 2 kids.
Yeah.
They came across, the elderly fellow in the Winnebago, and he helps them to get back to where they need to be. And with some evil people trying to pursue them in the process. And she's got a cat as well. I don't know much beyond that.
We'll have to rewatch it and
let
us know what you think.
Yeah, because
us
as I
included.
said, they did have a sequel, as I mentioned, and then a third one very recently. I guess by very recently, I mean 11 years ago, with The Rock.
Yeah, that's right. He was the cab driver. The source of many memes.
That's right.
Yeah, so...
But I believe it wasn't so much that they were witches, that they were UFOs.
weird.
Yeah.
But it's a fun, spooky
yeah.
Halloween time thing.
That's true.
Which, do you want to go or you want me to keep?
Proceed with that theme.
The next one is, of course, The Watcher in the Woods from 1980. I have vague memories of this only because Bette Davis is in it. And like, what?
And this came out in 1980, and I also have very vague memories of it. But yeah, she played a very kind of like an old, evil woman.
Yeah,
and
she was good at it.
And she's
scary.
a classic actress, of course, from the old days of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And in her later years, she basically did a lot of these villainous type roles. Not a lot, but but yeah.
Yeah, and both of these movies we didn't really mention Kim Richards and Kyle Richards. Kyle Richards wasn't credited in Escape to Witch Mountain, but she was in it.
Oh, she was in
sisters,
that?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
she was just like another
Kim
kid.
was the girl of the brother and sister in the Witch Mountain movies. And Kyle, her actual sister, was in The Watcher in the Woods.
Yeah, and
and she
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fans may recall that they were in that and still are.
Yeah, I was also going to say that in The Watcher in the Woods, she has a sister, a blonde sister, who's not played by her actual sister, but played by the actress who also did For Your Eyes Only, a James Bond film from the 80s, as well as Ice Castles.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Which, in my household, that was kind of a big
I've
deal.
heard.
And I think they had a recent release of that movie, but it was that actress, and I cannot remember her name.
Oh, well. So, this was another very good spooky...
Yeah.
I mean, this is classified as a horror film, I guess.
Yeah,
Disney's
it was
first.
a light horror film, but
not
definitely
like Halloween
for 1980, probably the scariest movie Disney had ever put out.
Agreed.
With maybe some possible exceptions that we might talk about. But yeah.
True.
So I don't really have a lot. I know that there was a very classic car in that one. But we will definitely have to watch that one again.
Yeah. All right. So what's some that you have on your list then?
Okay. I won't say that one because I know you're saving that one.
I can't see it from here anyway.
Okay. I will say in the early 80s, about the same time frame, there was another couple of movies that came out from our friend Tim Burton. Before he put out The Nightmare Before Christmas, he had a couple of other ones.
That is true.
He had a short called Vincent, which was really an eerie one.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, where it's kind of autobiographical, where the boy in that one, or not boy, the guy in that one kind of wants to emulate Vincent Price and basically wants to become him.
Yeah, and that's stop motion animation.
Mm-hmm.
And this was where I was introduced to Tim Burton, and it was not in that year, but when I lived in Massachusetts, there was a, what was it called? Animation Fest every year.
Anifest? I don't know.
I guess it was just Animation Festival.
Okay.
I'm like
That's fine.
forgetting the name of it. But anyway, they had all of these like short films, kind of like, that's where I saw Tin Toy for the first time. That's where I saw Beavis and Butthead before it was a show on MTV. And they would just show all of these clips, and many of them were nominated for Academy Awards too. Mm-hmm. So you'd see some like weird ones like Beavis and Butthead, and then you'd see some really interesting ones that had, poignant messages and things like that.
Like Vincent, I would say.
Yeah, so, well, I don't know if it had a message.
Well, I mean, and
that
then,
is
of
where I
course,
saw
his
that.
follow-up, Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie, yes. And that was, it wasn't shown there because it wasn't animation. That was like live action, the original.
That's right. It was black and white.
But I think I must have seen it on something else one time.
But yeah, I was going to also mention that one, basically, black and white Frankenweenie, which was, that was also a short, much longer than Vincent, but shorter than a full-length movie.
And then it became a full-length movie in 2012.
That's right. And
was stop-motion animation.
But yeah, basically it's about a boy and his dog. And the dog has, let's just say, an accident where he no longer lives. But he really loves his dog and does anything he can to bring his dog back. And so I believe he kind of plays Frankenstein and Dr. Frankenstein and kind of brings his dog back to life with some spooky results, I should say.
The cat from Frankenweenie reminds me of Stella.
Yeah, our co-star sometimes. Yeah,
And,
that's right.
Well,
A
I'll
big
give
poofy-
Christian this image.
A big
and
poofy white cat.
He can put that in the video
Maybe
version.
she'll come and visit us.
It's so funny. But yeah, I know some people aren't Tim Burton fans, but I became a fan back when I saw those things. Also, you know, I was like in high school and early college, so it was like the perfect time to be a goth. But I really became interested in all of his works, and I have like a bunch of books that he like illustrated, and he came up with these like weird little stories, and some of them turned into movies and some of them didn't.
Yeah, I had seen Frankenweenie and was familiar with it. I actually never saw Beetlejuice in the early days, but it wasn't until Edward Scissorhands that I became a
And then you were like, wait,
a
I
Tim
like
Burton
Winona
fan.
Ryder.
Well,
But why isn't she
Ryder,
blonde
it was-
in this movie?
It was the story, but I liked her, but it was mainly the music and the story and all of that.
Yes.
And then, of course, I went back and saw all of his earlier works and like, wow,
Yeah.
he's got a great oeuvre.
And I mean, we tried to keep this, well, we did keep this all Disney, but there's so many non-Disney Halloween movies.
Technically,
like
though,
Beetlejuice.
Edward Scissorhands is now a Fox film. It was a Fox film,
Yeah.
so technically it's now Disney.
That's true.
Not that I'm going to include
And
it.
I wanted to put Sleepy Hollow, the live action.
Oh, yeah.
one, but that's a Paramount Pictures.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't count, but
that one's scary, though.
very scary.
All right. Are you done with your
Well, I was going to then lead into
Nightmare Before Christmas?
The Nightmare Before Christmas, which, of course, is probably one of the quintessential Disney Halloween movies. And I say Halloween because it's both Halloween and Christmas. Kind of celebrates both of those holidays, I would say, equally.
This is a movie that I think is very underrated because the merchandise is so
Overrated.
It's like
Not overrated, but
yeah, it's plentiful.
oversaturated.
Yes, that's the right word.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
When the movie first came out, it was great, and I saw it in theaters, and I was like super excited, and I loved it. And then it just kind of like you never heard from it after that.
Right. Oh, here's our friend.
the cat from Frankenweenie now. I don't remember the name of that cat. And then at some point, I don't know when that happened, but Disney really got into marketing it.
Yeah.
And the merchandise was everywhere.
Yeah, so much so that a shop at Disneyland's New Orleans Square got booted in exchange for nothing but
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, Le Bâton Rouge, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. And the merchandise really doesn't capture how good the movie is. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing, and I love it because of the story and because of the workmanship that's in it. Like, stop motion animation is the most difficult
it
animation
requires
to do.
extreme patience.
Years and years and years just to get the amount of
to take
screen
actually
time.
these little things and literally just move them a fraction of an inch.
And if you watch actually that on Disney Plus, the Prop Culture, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's right.
There's an episode where he goes out and finds people that worked on that movie and shows them the original props that he's uncovered or finds things that they have saved. And back when they did the backlot tour and it ended up at the AFI museum thing at the end there, they had on display like the whole scene with the spiral mountain and a case that had 300 jack heads in it. And I, of course, loved that and tried to take 8 million photos of it, which did not work at all because I think I was taking flash photos. And it was before the time of digital photography. But anyway, it's a great story. I do believe it is a Halloween movie and not a Christmas movie, which is an eternal debate. And you can
I'm totally fine
debate
with
me in
that.
the comments.
I would say it's more of a Halloween movie than a Christmas movie. But, definitely has Christmas themes in it, too.
Yeah.
But they're twisted in a Halloween way.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's fun. If you like Tim Burton.
I do. So, yeah.
All right.
Good one.
Anything else, or you want me to jump back in?
I'll stop at that point
Okay.
for those.
Well, I'm going to talk about a short really quick that you actually can't see anywhere
What?
Unless you have perhaps a DVD with it on there. Or you can watch it on YouTube if you just Google
what is it?
This, which is The Runaway Brain.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Absolutely.
that? It came out before Roger Rabbit, I believe.
Yeah, I have that.
Well, I know. Of course you do.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's on the Disney Rarities DVD. Might be on one of the Mickey Mouse DVDs.
Well,
Yeah,
for those that don't remember, this was kind of like controversial when it came out.
Yeah.
And if you think about it now, it was kind of a precursor to the new Mickey shorts that we have now, because this was showing Mickey in a whole different way. He was playing video games and he was like kind of being a jerk to Minnie. And then he realizes that he needs to get her an anniversary present and he needs to raise money. And
it just so happens he finds a newspaper ad that's advertising that exact amount of money,
right,
to be an experiment for Dr. Frankenolly.
Yes, who is a monkey.
Of course.
But Frankenolly, get it?
Get it? Yeah, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston.
Yes.
2 of the 9 old men. Hello?
So then he goes there and basically his brain gets put into Julian? Was it?
A
or
giant ape, is it?
Well,
is
it's kind of like Pete.
Oh, okay.
But they don't call him that in
that's right.
the movie. I think his name is Julian for some reason.
A gigantic Pete.
Yeah.
And it shows the little stitches of the scar.
There's a really funny image from it, which I will send to Christian, and maybe he'll put that in as well. When he's doing like an x-ray of Mickey's head and his brain is like in the head part, but then his brain is also in both of his ears.
Of course.
It was just like a funny visual. But yeah, it was kind of like too scary when it came out, I guess.
It was really
It really
frightening.
scared kids.
At some point, one of the characters dies in this short.
That's true.
Not Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, no, that's right.
But yeah.
I did see that. I just rewatched it on the internet this morning. So, But yeah, that's a fun, creepy one to get you in the spirit. It's only 7 minutes long or something.
It's a good one,
so.
though. Yeah.
Let's see. Another good one. Return to Oz.
Interesting. I did not have this one on my list.
You didn't? Oh no, I don't really have too much to say about it. I just know it has pumpkin and scarecrows in it. So.
Okay.
Puts you in the spirit.
Yeah, Disney had, I think a long time ago, had purchased the rights to all of the Oz books, with the exception of, the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and always wanted to get a film made with them. And at one point,
I got them way back in 1954.
Yeah, he had plans to use the Mouseketeers, the original Mouseketeers, in an Oz short, and there's scenes of them in one of the Disney Walt Disney Presents shows of them kind of in character, and there's some dance sequences.
That's fun.
with Walt Disney.
See, this is why I keep you around, because even though you're like, that wasn't on my list, you have all of this inherent knowledge.
Yeah, and so it was his intent to use them to film an Oz movie, but that never got completed. And then, what was this, 1983 or 4, that they actually did make that movie, Return to Oz?
Yeah, 85.
Okay, 85. It was interesting. I think I've seen it once, way back in the 80s.
I need to watch it. I think I saw it once back then too, but I have not much memory.
It is represented in parks at Disneyland Paris in their Storybook Land boat ride.
So you should see it if you ever go there, so you have that reference in your mind.
But other than that, but yeah, they do have pumpkins and the
pumpkin scarecrows. And the visuals for this, personally, is what I thought of when I first saw a mini series that came out a couple of years back that is not Disney related at all, but I have to recommend it because it's so good. And that is Over the Garden Wall.
Oh,
which
I've always
was
wanted to see that.
Originally a comic, I believe. Yes? Christian doesn't know. Graphic novel. And it's so good. the animation style is great. It's kind of like, those like old-timey postcards that, wish you a happy Halloween or whatever, those kind of like old-timey art style. That's what the cartoon world is like in there. And it's this great tale, and it's going in and out of like modern times and in this other world. And the music is amazing. The music is now out on Apple Music, so you can look that up and then sing along to it in your spare time. And again, not a Disney thing. I think it's on Hulu, and it's a bunch of episodes. And
I know you got that recently, and I wanted to see it because I haven't.
What, the music or the?
Oh,
did I get the DVD for it?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot I got that. That was so we could watch it whenever we wanted because I love it so much. But now it's like on Hulu, I think, so you can watch it whenever, anyway.
Yeah.
And they're pretty short episodes. They're not too long. So anyway, back to Disney. That's what the animation and all the pumpkin characters. I thought of that when I first saw Over the Garden Wall.
Very good.
Pumpkin scarecrows.
Kind of also right in that time frame.
Yeah. So that leads us to, what do you have?
Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. This is going to be a little bit of a history thing. A long time ago, Disney actually started, with the Halloween things, putting together a lot of the classic cartoon segments in shows, in little anthology segments, and put them on the original TV shows. And it started way back in 1956 with a show called Our Unsung Villains. And that's where Walt Disney kind of lets the magic mirror from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs kind of host the show. And and this is portrayed by Hans Conried.
Okay.
Conrad, who actually provided the voice of Captain Hook. So he plays the magic mirror, and he basically was saying, actually, all of us villains are very important too, and if it weren't for us villains, you wouldn't have these heroes to root for. And so they actually show classic scenes from old cartoons. In that one, 1956, they actually showed the Big Bad Wolf, the Evil Queen from Snow White, Brer Bear and Brer Fox from The Song of the South, and Captain Hook himself from Peter Pan, as examples of good, classic villains that make the heroes that we cheer for.
Yes.
And then they kind of redid that again in 1977 as a segment on The Wonderful World of Disney when they did Disney's Greatest Villains, and they once again had the Magic Mirror, but they had a lot more segments to showcase, including Captain Hook, Madam Mim, Shere Khan and Kaa from The Jungle Book, Maleficent and Lady Tremaine, Cruella de Vil, the Queen of Hearts, Willie the Giant from Fun and Fancy Free, and what had just come out from The Rescuers, Madame Medusa.
Ooh, I always thought I could do a great cosplay of her.
Oh, yeah. I could see that with the red hair.
Yes.
Not any other part. But then also, in that same year, in 1977, they also released a thing called Halloween Hall of Fame, which was another episode on The Wonderful World of Disney, where they showed some of the old classic cartoons, like Trick or Treat that we had mentioned, Lonesome Ghosts, Pluto's Judgment Day, which was, I think, an old 1935 Pluto short where he's kind of goes to the Down Under to be judged for being cruel. Yeah, for being so cruel to cats all the time.
Ah, yes, I do remember that.
And he has to basically come to judgment. But it's all just a dream, so it's okay. As well as The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which we had previously mentioned. So basically this is kind of like a clip show. But then it leads to 1982, where Disney does another one of these called Disney's Halloween Treat, which was an episode on the Walt Disney. It was actually at that point called Walt Disney. And they actually, instead of having the mirror, the magic mirror, they had a funny jack-o'-lantern who kind of introduced these segments. And this one included such things as the skeleton dance.
A classic.
The Night on Bald Mountain sequence from Fantasia. and some different shorts, including Donald Duck and the Gorilla and Mickey's Parrot, which is kind of like, these are shorts where there's something on the loose, and in Donald's case, a gorilla from the zoo, an evil gorilla, and in Mickey's case, I think just a bad guy has escaped from prison. And
Weird.
in both cases, there's a little bit of mistaken identity and some hijinks ensue. And then, of course, other ones that a lot of, like Captain Hook and the Queen of Hearts and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow again. So they basically introduced these shows where they had a lot of different clips. And there was one more actually from 1981 called A Disney Halloween, which had other things such as the Old Mill.
Oh my gosh, I was waiting for you to stop talking so I could say the Old Mill should have been in there. But I didn't have to, but I did anyway.
Asterisk. Yeah, and which isn't really Halloween themed, but
No,
it's
it's
just
not.
a
But it's
classic
scary.
sequence. Yeah, of kind of
Spooky.
like the weather is very similar to the weather in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, just
Yeah.
very ominous, and then it turns into a storm, and lots of bad things, scary things happen that endanger very cute, innocent animals. But they're all
It's
okay.
very stressful.
Yeah. And that one actually included also the Heffalumps and Woozles sequence from Winnie the Pooh. But it also included, pardon me, a short called the Great Cat Family, which itself was a segment from the one Walt Disney Presents back in 1956, all about cats, including our friend here. And in that one, they actually talked about lions and the house cat. And, they're kind of giving a history of house cats, especially how they were revered in Egypt in the old Egyptian times, to the point of, having elaborate mummifications and burials, and so that they can go off into the afterlife. But then also, in the time of the bubonic plague, in the old times.
Oh, they would eat the rats?
Yeah, about how they would kind of save humanity by hunting the rats that were spreading the bubonic plague.
But then did they get the bubonic plague?
I don't know. There's a point where it shows a cat kind of getting a mouse, and there's a fight that ensues, and it does show the cat all tussled up a little bit. Doesn't show any bite marks or anything. But anyway, it came upon that this was right also around the time of the Salem witch trials, where people were kind of seeing evil in places where it may or may not have existed. And so at that time, they were thinking anybody who traveled in the night was evil. And so cats who were often nighttime people,
roaming around to get their
that's right.
food.
A lot of times they were kind of like seen as very mysterious and sometimes even evil. And so they were actually hunted almost to extinction. But they came back. Yay. But anyway, so this isn't necessarily Halloween related, but I always remembered that one, seeing it way back in the Disney Channel from the 80s. And I couldn't remember where it was from, but it always showed this this one scene with the cat kind of peering at this old woman. Like, is this cat evil? Is it the personification of the devil? I don't know. And then at one point, a fire crackles and hits the cat on the behind, and he lunges after the old woman, and that's what sets him off. But yeah, it's very thematic, I should say. And it always made me think about Halloween. And they actually used that, as I mentioned, in this show called A Disney Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah, and in that show, they actually had the story around it was there was a night watchman at the old Disney studios who came across, and this was on Halloween night, and he came across a jack-o'-lantern who essentially was telling him, hey, I guess the night watchman wanted to go out and be out in Halloween, but the jack-o'-lantern didn't. And so eventually they trade places. It's kind of a weird premise. But yeah, I'll get to that a little bit later in the show as well. That'll be part of the trivia question.
Okay. I was like, how much later are we talking?
But basically, the whole point of that being is from as early as 1956 all the way through the 80s, Disney kind of like clipped a lot of the shorts and villains together to present them. And these shows would often appear on the Disney Channel.
Yeah, they did that House of Villains thing and all that stuff.
And then also later in Walt Disney.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about one that everyone knows and loves now. It was kind of a cult classic up until a few years ago, but now it's everywhere, and that is, of course, Hocus Pocus.
Yep.
I had not seen this until about 2 years ago. I just never did. I don't know why. I didn't see it when it came out in theaters. It didn't do well in theaters when it came out.
No, it did not.
In whatever year that was.
It did okay, but yeah, it did not do block gangbusters.
1993.
Mm-hmm. Same year as The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I made my choice in which one I watched. But I did watch it before because Disney World did a stage show change up. They used to just do the villains stage show up until like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe now. And then they switched it up and we're going to bring Hocus Pocus back, and everyone went crazy and they were like, oh my God, Hocus Pocus. Because it was just kind of like a cult underground following at that point.
It became an absolute cult classic.
And then everyone loved it and they talk about it all the time, and there's 8 million
One
t-shirts
of the reasons
you can
why
get.
is because the actresses that portray the three sisters, the Sanderson sisters, they're like them.
On the stage show?
On the stage,
yeah. They do look really alike. They do great makeup and have great wigs.
Yeah. But it's not just the makeup and the wigs. It's everything that they say and the way that they act. Yeah. It's like Bette Midler and
it's like they're
and
professionals.
all of them up there. Yeah, it's like they're professionals. But it's amazing to me.
Okay. Well, it is a fun show. But then, if you've seen it for 3 years, then...
Yes.
But it is good. I think we have video of it on our YouTube channel if you'd like to check it out.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a very fun, very Halloween-y movie, of course, set in Salem, Massachusetts, which is the place to be for Halloween.
Yikes.
As I said, I grew up in Massachusetts, so we would visit Salem all the time, and it was a great, fun place to be.
And we went there a couple of years back.
We did.
And yeah.
It was raining, but it was still fun.
Yeah. Very spooky, though.
Yeah. We did not run into Bette Midler, though.
I did see Thackeray Binks, though.
Probably. Yeah, so it's a fun romp, if you will.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, you should. It's on Disney Plus, of course.
Yay.
And that makes me want to talk about another, I guess, cult classic amongst a certain group, and that is Halloween Town, which Sophia's not here right now watching us record this, but she would be screaming in joy if she was.
So this was one of those Disney Channel original movies from the day.
It was actually from 1998, I believe.
Yeah. Well, that first one was. I believe there was not one, not two, not three, but 4 of them.
4 of them. The last one of which did not have the original cast in any way, shape, or form.
What?
Return to Halloween Town or something.
Yeah, there's Halloween Town, Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge.
Yes.
Halloween Town High.
Yes.
And then I guess Return to Halloween Town, which did not have
a different cast.
Okay.
I watched in preparation for this because I'd never seen it, Halloween Town and Halloween Town High.
Bless you.
I took one for the team.
Wow.
I can see that, when Sophia was younger, this was a Disney Channel original that they would play a lot. So she really loves it. But watching it in 2020, it's kind of like, okay. But there's a whole handful of Disney original movies like Twitches and...
Twitches 2?
Twitches 2. My Mom Married a Vampire or is Dating a Vampire or something.
Dating. Not married. Maybe later they married, but yeah.
Something with a monster. I don't know. But I didn't want to include all of those because they're not cinematic classics in my opinion. But if you're just wanting to have a fun, stuff going on in the background, if you're having a Halloween party, which I guess you aren't this year, but
I'll bet amongst all of those, Halloween Town, the original, was probably the best.
Well, I was going to say that all of them had music done by Mark Mothersbaugh, which, as you know, was the lead singer of Devo and then went on to score countless movies and TV shows, including Rugrats,
Of course.
Pee-wee movies. I think he did not the original Pee-wee movies, but the most recent one. He's done 4 or more Wes Anderson films.
Oh, wow.
Just like, the music in the background of them.
Yeah.
So I loved that part of it. Even though it was filmed and released in 1998, it still has like an 80s feel to me.
Okay.
And so I love that kind of, homey, classic innocence, I guess, if you will, before things changed in the 2000s. But I enjoyed it for that reason. The child actors weren't incredibly annoying, so that was good. The special effects and like most of them, because Halloween Town is a place, and
so the residents there,
all have to be like a goblin or a
skeleton,
a werewolf, or a skeleton, or monsters of some sort, which basically meant they got like a big headpiece, and then the rest of them was just normal, unless they were like a really big monster kind of thing. So it was just kind of very funny special effects makeup. So it's not scary in any way. It's just a spooky family fun film.
Alrighty.
So if you're in the mood, all of those are on Disney Plus, along with Twitches 2, My Mom is Dating a Vampire, etc. There's one with a monster involved. I can't remember the name of it, but
I can't remember.
It'll show up when you're related titles. So
very good. I would say right around that same time, maybe just before, they released The Tower of Terror.
Oh, that was on my list, and then I forgot to write it down.
Movie.
Thank you for doing that. Before
You're
we
welcome.
jump into that, though, I forgot to mention Debbie Reynolds, Halloween Town. Hello.
She's the grandma, right?
Yes. I mean, if nothing else, she's a reason to watch it. And her opening scene, she arrives on a bus from Halloween Town, and the bus is floating, and she just kind of gets an umbrella and floats down from the bus as a kind of little nod to Mary Poppins. I think she has a little carpet bag that comes to life. So
very fun.
Cute. So watch for that reason too. Anyway, yes, I'm glad you brought up Tower of Terror, because that was on my list, and I watched it online.
Oh, you watched it?
It's not available anywhere either.
It's not on Disney Plus?
No.
Oh, well, I do have it on DVD.
I'm sure you do. Yes.
So, yeah.
But you can, it's on YouTube as well. So
Okay.
Steve Guttenberg.
And Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
A young Kirsten Dunst.
Exactly.
Not quite as young as An Interview with the Vampire, but
that was her
young.
great follow-up role.
Yeah, basically where they're trying to investigate what happened on that Halloween
Fateful night.
in 1939, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's basically, it was really just a giant promotion for the ride.
Yes.
I mean, they use the attraction building in the movie, and they use ride footage in the movie as well. So it's kind of, I mean, I wish they'd still do that today. It would
those
be
kind
great.
of specter ghost type people that we see in the attraction, though all of those characters are characters in this film, and we kind of see their not backstory, but we see how they've come to be in this film. So yeah,
it's a little gruesome in parts.
And that actually appeared on the Wonderful World of Disney, which at that time was on ABC. So
yeah. So check that out if you haven't seen it before. It's funny.
And speaking of
kind of bad.
Movies that were based on attractions, there's another one that we, I guess, have to discuss as well.
Well, okay. This is not on one you must watch.
No.
But if you've seen everything else and you're like, I guess it's still Halloween, I should watch
They're talking
something.
about Monorail the movie, right?
No.
Wait, no?
What's Monorail the movie?
Oh, that hasn't been made yet. I'm sorry. We're talking about The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy.
Yes. And I also took one for the team and watched that in preparation for this episode.
You had not seen it?
I had never seen it, no.
Yeah.
I had heard how bad it was and was like, well, I guess I don't need to see that. But here's the thing. It's very all over the place as far as like storyline goes. They really tried to make there be enough of a backstory that fit into the attraction
they incorporated a lot of the attraction into the movies just so that they would be there.
But they also, because they had to appeal to audiences, I guess, they had to have Eddie Murphy as a modern day real estate agent, and he works too much and his family never sees him. And so there's that whole side story as well, which is just kind of like, okay.
And the whole thing about the mistaken identity with his wife and the lady of the manor.
And murder and intrigue.
Yeah. And Jennifer Tilly as Madame Leota.
Yes. It's, I mean, some of the special effects are kind of scary. Like, when the skeletons comes after them and stuff like that.
And the spiders.
Spiders. But I mean, if you want to see it, you can, I guess.
Yeah, I had a lot of hope for that movie, and then I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of mistakes made. Oh well.
But one that you should watch to put you in a good mood and fill you with spirit, probably make you cry actually. But it's still like, it's not Halloween themed. It's Dia de los Muertos themed.
Which is right around Halloween.
Yes, but it encompasses, family and all of that stuff, and remembering your family and not forgetting them. And
what movie are you talking
Coco,
about?
of course.
Coco.
Beautiful visuals, fun music, so definitely put that on your list.
Very good. It actually did not make my list.
Oh, well.
But I had forgotten about it, so that's
do you have anything more, or can we do our final one?
Before we get to our final two.
We're going over for our allotted time, so.
I know. Let me just mention a few others real quick. Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Is that Halloween related?
Well, Angela Lansbury plays a witch.
Okay, wow.
In the time of World War II.
Nothing makes you think of Halloween other than Nazis.
Well, it's... I mean, the Nazis. But yeah, it's in England. But yeah, they are the villains.
Okay.
But then also these creepy skeletons and all that.
Still never seen it.
It's actually worth it.
I will watch it at some point.
And there's a good sequence of animation in there as well.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Like the under the sea thing and all that.
Yeah, yeah. I should also mention Blackbeard's Ghost, which has a ghost. It's not really Halloween themed, but it has Peter Ustinov as Blackbeard. That's 1968, so him and Dean Jones. Good times.
Do love Dean Jones. He's a good guy.
Other than that, I think we can go to a couple other real quick ones. Toy Story of Terror.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. And right before that, Mater and the Ghostlight.
All right. Now you've crossed a line.
I was just those are just mentions.
Okay.
But okay. Let's go to our final two. I'll let you start off, and then I'll do the last one.
I did not see this film until high school. And then I was like, why have I never seen this film before? Because it was pretty darn amazing, and I love it. And thank goodness it's a Walt Disney production so that we can talk about it. And that is, of course, Something Wicked This Way Comes. Christian
I saw this
informed
in
me
theaters.
he does not enjoy it. So
I saw this in theaters in 1983 when it came out.
Wow.
And it made a huge impact on me.
I bet it probably would have for me too. I probably would have been too scared when it came out.
It was very scary. And, I was right at that age where I was just starting to get into that kind of thing. But yeah. Very good.
So this is, of course, based on a short story or a novel by Ray Bradbury.
That's right.
And he has, Disney affiliations with Spaceship Earth and Epcot and all that fun stuff. So there's a lot of weird backstory to this, where this was originally written as a directorial debut for Gene Kelly.
Oh.
And then that never happened. And then much later, Ray Bradbury rewrote the whole thing into. He actually made the short story after that, and then Disney was like, "Well, maybe we might be interested in making this."
Interesting.
And so they did, and the director that they hired for it, and producer Jack Clayton, had a different vision for what he wanted it to be. He wanted the fear and the mood to come from the actors acting and the surroundings of where it was being filmed. But this was around the time of, Star Wars had come out, and Disney was like, audiences are expecting a big special effects movie, and this can give it to them. What the heck? And so they basically reshot the movie for 6 months or something crazy like that. And Ray Bradbury was not getting along with that director either. So they brought in these other people and they reshot some things. They originally had different people in mind to do the Mr. Dark character, but they picked relatively unknown Jonathan Pryce.
Yeah, Jonathan Pryce.
Who was a Welsh actor. And that was great casting, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I love him
Mr.
so
Dark.
much.
He was kind of the personification of evil. I mean, almost one of Satan's kind of...
Yeah. And that's the thing,
minions,
is like, this movie is scary.
Yeah.
And there's things that happen and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, this is a kid's movie?
And it's not the kind of thing where he's like, hacking up or anything.
No, it's not
basically
gory.
Using the whole theme of temptation. Basically trying to tempt you with something that you couldn't or shouldn't have, but want to have, in case, like, from Jason Robards' character, the youth.
Exactly. There's a whole, it's very, you can tell that it's a Ray Bradbury story because there's great character development, there's great messaging in it and stuff like that. So also Pam Grier is in it. She plays the Dust Bride.
Ooh. Because basically Mr. Dark brings his Dark's Pandemonium Carnival to basically appeared out of nowhere in this. Where was it set? Kind of like New England?
I think it was like Illinois, actually. But yeah, it's very small town. It's very like Main Street USA kind of feel to it, and that time period as well. Okay. So I love it. It's really sets the tone for like the Halloween season, and Mr. Dark is an insanely good villain. And the way that there's this one scene where he is looking for the two boys who've like discovered his secrets and he wants to get them. And he goes up to Jason Robards and he's like, well, I'm looking for these boys. And he makes up some other story and he's like, I know you're lying. And then he like has the boys tattooed on his hand. And then while Jason Robards is talking to him, he's clenching his fist and like blood is coming out of his fist. And it's just like so creepy and good. And then he walks away and he has his carnival behind him and he just like stares into the soul of Jason Robards as he's walking away. It's so good. I love it. Yeah. But you have to watch it to see the end. I guess
I was at just the right age when that came out because it's like, wow, I was mesmerized, but also scared by it too.
It's just great visuals. And this was the time where they were really developing computer animation. Yeah. So they had this great scene for when the carnival like appears out of nowhere on the horizon, and it was all done with like computer graphics and stuff, but that got cut. It is a very short part of it that is shown, but that was a disappointment for some reason. I don't know why they didn't use it.
And then I guess the whole Carnival of Destiny kind of thing, Carousel of Destiny kind of situation at the end.
Very weird and creepy.
Whew.
Anyway, I think that's a great place to wrap up our meandering list of must-see, and maybe if you really want to see Disney Halloween movies. Let us know what your favorites are, if we missed any of your must-see Disney Halloween classics or favorites. And of course, that brings us to the trivia corner.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I should mention last week's trivia question, which was we had spoken about the Hoop-de-Doo musical review show.
Right.
And what record it had set. And what record was that?
It was guessed by quite a few people. They sent comments in or messaged me on Instagram, etc. And that was the longest running musical of all time.
Yeah.
Or stage
essentially
show.
in American theater history.
Yeah. Having
presented 3 shows a day, every day, since 1970, was it 4?
4, yes.
Yeah, so that's right.
So congrats to all of you that guessed that correctly. And that brings us to this week, which...
I had previously mentioned the Halloween Hall of Fame, which actually had the Night Watchman at the studios. I think I'd previously said that was part of a Disney Halloween, but I meant that it was actually from the Halloween Hall of Fame in 1977, which had a Night Watchman at the Disney studios on Halloween night, encountering a jack-o'-lantern, and them having a little discussion about wanting to trade places.
Yes.
And my trivia question for you is, what classic actor portrayed the Night Watchman in that show? in the Halloween Hall of Fame.
Can I
from
guess?
1977.
I guess I shouldn't guess in case I get it right.
You can guess, and I won't tell you whether it's right or wrong.
Well, I'm going to guess Dick Van Dyke because he was the night watchman in Night at the Museum.
I will tell you that it is not Dick Van Dyke.
Darn it. Mickey Rooney?
It is also not Mickey Rooney. So there's
Who was
two.
the other one?
I don't know.
The guy that was in with Mel Gibson, 48 Hours or something. That's not the name of the movie.
Well, that's Danny Glover. But
Danny Glover. He was in it too.
But
anyway, different movie. All my guesses were wrong. I do want to thank everyone for listening and tuning in and watching and rating us if you can on the podcast listening of your choice. We recently got a review on Apple Music, which I wanted to read aloud for the class. And it's entitled Magical Adventures. If you love going on magical adventures about Disney history, then Up the Waterfall is for you. Zanna and Scott are full of Disney history, knowledge, and experience, which I'm jealous for. I love how this is not your normal Disney podcast, and I'm so ready for more episodes like the Jules Verne episode.
Ooh.
Can't wait for more trips up the waterfall until my next Disney vacation.
Wow.
So thank you very much. And that's actually who won our Big Al thing. That was one of his entries.
Very cool.
So that was a great review. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have one that's not done by you because you left a review also. I did not bother to. So yeah, we love hearing from you guys. We love if you can rate us and leave us reviews. That gets the word out. Tell your friends.
Yes, please.
And
that's how we can grow our
like
audience.
and subscribe on YouTube, etc., wherever you listen. So thank you once again. We hope you're in the Halloween spirit and have enjoyed our list, and let us know if you have any we forgot.
Yeah, I'm sure we probably might have forgotten one or two.
I know.
I can already think of one, but that's okay.
All right. Well, we'll put it in the blog post.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us up the waterfall.
Bye now.